We're back with Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition. What You Owe Me, Part 12. Now, when we left off, Marcus was on the plane with Jessica. She had FaceTimed a small child named Melissa who had called her mommy and called Marcus daddy. Miss Brenda called him on the phone at that exact moment. She had some questions. He didn't have any answers. Well, the answers that he gave weren't the truth, but she wasn't going for none of that because y'all know how mamas are. Angela pulled up to her office. She went inside her business. She walked through her warehouse. She saw everything was going as it should be. She ran into her manager, Bernie. Bernie asked her how everything went on the previous day. She let Bernie know that things were going as well as it could possibly go. Bernie told her that she was really kind of concerned about how she was doing. And she told her that she looked like she needed a break, a vacation, a day off, or something. And Angela told her that she's going through a lot, but she's going to push through and all will be well. Right now, she just needs to focus on the business and doing what needed to be done. So they had a brief meeting, discussed some particulars, had a conference call or two, and then Bernie went off to manage her duties. Angela threw herself into her work, as we often do, and before you knew it, the day had flown by. When Angela looked up at the clock, she realized that it was almost 6:30, and that meant it was time for her to get ready for Bible study. Angela decides that she'll give Miss Brenda a call to see if she's going to ride the Bible study with one of her friends or if she's going to need a ride. Miss Brenda answers the phone and she says, "Hello." Angela says, "Hey, Miss Brenda, it's Angela." Miss Brenda says, "Oh, now you want to call me back. I called you this morning, baby. Is everything okay?" Angela says, "Oh, my goodness, this day's been so crazy. I completely forgot to call you back. I am so sorry, Miss Brenda. I was calling to see if you needed a ride to church." Miss Brenda says, "Actually, I do." Angela says, "Okay, well, I can be there in about 20 minutes, and we should have plenty of time to get to church." And Miss Brenda says, "Yes, and plenty of time to have a conversation." Angela says, "What's going on, Miss Brenda?" Miss Brenda says, "It's time that you tell me, baby." Angela and Miss Brenda get off the phone. Angela starts heading in the direction of Miss Brenda's home, and she says a silent prayer for strength. And when she pulls up, Miss Brenda's waiting for her on the porch. Angela gets out and opens her door. Miss Brenda comes and gives her a big hug. And Angela asks Miss Brenda how she's doing. Miss Brenda says, "I can't complain." And Angela says, "And if you did, no one would care." And then they both laugh and Miss Brenda gets in the car. As they head towards the church, Angela says, "Oh, let me call Steph and see if she's going to make it." So Angela calls her sister Steph to see if she's going to make it to church. And Steph says, "No, I'm not going to make it to Bible study tonight. I'm up here visiting Mom. She's been having a difficult time. Have you been up here to see her lately?" Angela says, "Yeah, I've been up there to see Mom. I was actually up there with her yesterday." And Steph asks, "Well, how did she seem to you? Did she seem like herself?" And Angela says, "Well, it was really kind of strange." And so she kind of recaps for her how the visit started. She doesn't go into the details about their discussion, but she does tell her that she talked about some things that happened in the past that she wasn't aware of. Angela asks her sister, "Did Mom ever tell you the story about what all went on with her and Dad when she was pregnant with you and when you were first born?" And Steph says, "Yeah, of course. I asked her all about it." And Angela says, "Oh, okay. Well, I was there and I don't even remember any of that. But either way, she told me the story when I visited her yesterday and I was absolutely flabbergasted. I did not realize that all of those things were going on between Mom and Dad, and that Mom left Dad when she found out she was pregnant with you and hid it from him through the whole pregnancy, and that Mom and Dad didn't see each other at all until after you were born, and Mom and Dad got a divorce." And Steph says, "Mom and Dad never got a divorce." Angela says, "They didn't?" Steph says, "No, they didn't. They never got divorced. They were just separated. And Dad died, and Wait, what made you think mom and dad got a divorce? Angela says, because dad was living with that lady and her kids. And so I thought that mom and dad got a divorce. And Steph says, the lady and her kids, those are our siblings. You didn't realize that dad had a whole nother family and that's why mom left? Angela says, what? Steph says, you have always been the type to never ask questions, never pay attention to what's going on around you. And now, at this big age, you're just realizing that mom left dad because he had a whole nother family. And she hid the pregnancy because he would have tried to guilt and manipulate her into staying with him if he would have known that she was pregnant with me. And Angela just sat there in shock at a red light, and a light turned green and people started honking. And Miss Brenda said, baby, are you all right? Angela said, oh my goodness, Steph, I'm gonna have to call you back. So Angela pulls the car over after hanging up with her sister and looks over at Miss Brenda and then tells Miss Brenda everything that her mother told her the day before and what her sister had just told her on the phone. Miss Brenda looks at Angela and says, baby, I know that was a lot for you to take in. And I know that your father's no longer here for you to have a conversation with him to get his side of the story. But I think that it's important that you learn something from this. It's time for you to start asking the hard questions, and it's time for you to start paying attention. You can't walk around with your head in the clouds. You can't bury your head in the sand. Angela says, I know, until I suffocate. I know. Miss Brenda says, so you have other siblings that you didn't know about, huh? And Angela says, well, we would go to visit our dad, and the kids would be there, and we would interact with them, and we got along with them, and my father treated them like his children, but he never said to me that they were his children or that they were my siblings. So I just saw them as like step siblings. And when he died, I never saw them again. I don't know if Steph ever saw them again. Miss Brenda said, well, do you remember your siblings' names? Were they girls, boys? Angela said, I remember that there were two girls. They were in the car with my dad when he got in the accident that killed him. And one of them died too. I think her name was Missy or Melissa, and we called her Missy. Miss Brenda said, well, at least you and Steph don't have to worry about dating your sibling by accident since they were both girls. I'm sorry to hear that one of them passed though, baby. I'm sure that was really hard for her mom. That may explain why you never saw the other sister again. Angela said, yeah, can't remember her name. I want to say their names rhymed. It was Jessie and Missy. But I can't remember Jessie's name. But your mother was a strong woman. She left your father while she had a baby and had another on the way, huh? How old were you? Angela says, I was like 2, 3 years old when my mom was pregnant with Steph, so I was 3 going on 4 when she was born. And Miss Brenda said, so it's understandable why you wouldn't have remembered certain details from that time period. But now that you know, it should help you to understand more about your mom. Angela said, yeah, now I understand a lot more about my mom and dad's relationship and why they argued and fought so much and why my mom was always questioning my father. I wanted so much not to be that kind of wife. And now I'm afraid that trying not to be that kind of wife has put me in a bad situation. And Miss Brenda said, baby, God will always provide a way of escape.